Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about French press and the way I brew with this brewing device. A lot of people say that French press is an easy brewing method, but that doesn't mean that an easy brewing method cannot brew amazing coffee. Also, I think that French press is a perfect brewing method for when you want to start to brew at home. For the first time, I always suggest to approach the home brewing with a French press. It's easier to brew coffee when you don't have a lot of skills, and also you need less tools. So you're not gonna spend a lot of money all at the beginning. Why we say the French press is an easy brewing method? It's because French press is an immersion brewing method. It means that the water is always in contact with the coffee until the end of the brew. And this will reduce a lot of the human error factor from the pour over methods. The approach I use when I brew with French press is similar to the coffee cupping protocols. Why I do that? Because with the cupping protocol we can discover what is the potential of the coffee we are about to brew, and that is very helpful when we start to brew a new bag of coffee. And after that, brewing by brewing, I like to play with changes and variables if I need it, so to make the coffee even better. So the recipe that I use for French press is 16.5 grams of coffee to 300 grams of water. I grind my coffee medium coarse and the water at 95 degrees Celsius. The things you need for brew a French press at home is a French press, of course, a scale and a timer. I use a grinder because I grind coffee at home. If you don't have a grinder, you can go to your local cafe and tell them to grind the coffee medium coarse. I'm sure that they're gonna do that. So you don't need to buy a grinder if you are just like a beginner. I already grind my 16.5 coffee and then I'm gonna brew that. What you need is 2 tablespoons and another vessel where we're gonna decant the coffee from the French press in here, and your favorite cup where you're gonna enjoy the coffee. And also very important, electric kettle. What I use is a kettle where you can set up the temperature. If you have like a normal kettle like this one, it's not a problem. You can just boil the water. If you have a thermometer, it's better. So when the temperature is at 95 degrees, you can pour the water straight into the coffee, into the French press. The good thing of the French press is that you don't need a kettle with a gooseneck. That's what we use more for a pour over method, and of course the price is higher than a normal electric ones. So you don't need to spend a lot of money to brew amazing coffee at home. And now let's brew. I put the 16.5 grams in my French press. I have my water ready, warmed up at 95 degrees. The good procedure is to pour the 300 grams of water as fast as possible. So let's start the timer and let's start to pour the water. You can use with your hand to turn and make sure that you pour the water, that all the coffee is in contact with the water. And that we use that like in the pour over method is something that we call blooming, and basically is the first pour where you put the water in contact with the coffee. And this practice is very important because what we want to achieve is to wet the coffee with the water at the same time. This will give to us, and to you as well, a consistent and uniform extraction. So what we need to do now is wait 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, we break the crust with a spoon. And after that, we're gonna skim it. We're gonna remove all the foam that's been created on top of our coffee. After this, we're gonna put the plunge on and we're gonna press gently. And gently we're gonna pour our brew. And that is how I achieve an amazing coffee brewed with the French press. Now, I want to give you some tips. If the coffee you think is weak, is under extracted, what you can do, change the grind setting. So grind the coffee finer, change the ratio coffee to water, add more coffee with the same amount of water, or increase the temperature of the kettle. Instead of 95, you can brew like a 96, 97, and this will have like a lot of energy to extract more in these 4 minutes. But what I suggest is remember to change one variable at a time, because if you change all the variables and you start to see like some changing of the coffee, you don't know which variables affect the changing. If the coffee, you think the coffee is too strong, it's over extracted and it tastes a bit bitter, what you can do is like grind coarser, reduce the temperature of the water, or reduce the amount of coffee per water. This is all like typical tips that you can use with any brewing method, but important is change one variable at a time. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope that my method to brew with a French press, it will be very helpful to brew amazing coffee at home. If you have any questions or you want to share your French press recipe, please leave a comment below. And if, like me, you are passionate about coffee, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Ciao!